Christmas was coming soon. I always hated Christmas. It was supposed to be a happy time of year, but the cold just felt even colder somehow. This year was a little different. Things are going well at work. I wasn't as sad. Yeah, I didn't have any family around, but something in the air made me feel jolly, I guess would be the right word for this time of year. I don't know. I'm not very good at this. I actually decorated my apartment, just me and my cat, and I thought this year would be the year that maybe I get back into the spirit. The night before Christmas came, and I was at home. I was watching It's a Wonderful Life, which I hadn't seen since I was a kid. I fell asleep in front of the TV, and I awoke to a sound. It was behind me. The tree was behind me. I'm too old for this shit. It's not Santa. But maybe it was. Maybe I stopped believing for dumb reasons, and tonight would be the night where I start believing again for all the right reasons. I saw a shadow creep across the screen. He was bending down by the tree, inspecting what was already there. I already bought all the presents, and they weren't even for anyone but me. I already knew what they were. Again, the season was infectious. He was laughing, almost as if he knew I chose to believe. I couldn't help but let out a little sigh of relief. Christmas had come back into my life. The shadow got up with a start, made its way over to me. Holy shit, I'm about to meet Santa Claus. I felt the knife plunge into my chest. Over and over again, this was not Santa, and if it was, he was a twisted creation, different than that which I knew as a kid. I look up and saw the burglar. No, this wasn't Santa. Christmas didn't have any meaning. And you know what? Maybe it's a good thing I died today. Welcome to Escaping Podcast.
The best podcast in Colorado Springs when it comes to all things geek, nerdy, and everything in between.
And by everything in between, he means those 365 days between Christmases. It is almost here, but it is Friday the 13th as well. And if you remember from last time, that means it's time for us to share some stories. As always, I am Daniel. To my left, I've got...
Kills for show, a.k.a. I'm never on the naughty list because you can't spell nice without the ice.
Wow. Today we are joined by a few different storytellers. Each will tell us a fun, scary holiday treat, and hopefully it helps you sleep a little worse at night. Kels, who do we got in the studio with us?
Right now we also have with me again, my boy, always and foremost, the Jason to my Freddy, Roscoe.
We've also got Randy here with us. He is going to be telling us some heartfelt... Holy shit.
Dang, Mr. Krampus.
Yeah, how you doing, my man? Joining us today for stories, we've got...
One of my friends, she's been known to ruffle feathers like Polly. Here to talk about the season to be jolly. Good golly, it's Miss Holly Davis.
Thanks, guys. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and hand it over to Holly real quick and her holiday horror story.
So I have a local story. There's an abandoned town north of the town of Calhan. I don't know if you guys know that town. But on one of the Friday 13th, I had gathered a couple of other friends and said, we need to go check this town out. It's kind of got a Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe to it because it was an old meatpacking plant town that went abandoned. So we went out there. My cousin had told us some stories. Let me give you some background on that. He went out there one day. He was drinking. They were, it's an old country town. Him and a buddy. All of a sudden, there's no one around. It's an abandoned town. Some old lights come up behind them as they're driving, like an old 1940s Ford truck. Just turns on, starts following them, tailgating them real hard. They get into the town where the old abandoned houses are at. They stop, and that truck had turned off. They get out, take a piss. One of them's taking a piss, and a cigarette butt goes right next to him, like flicked it at him, like someone was around. There ain't no one around. They hop back in their pickup, start taking off again. They get stopped in the town because their truck wouldn't go. So they're next to this abandoned building, and they hear something. They look up in the building, in this rocking chair, and this old lady is rocking. I am not shitting you. This is totally 100% true. They get back in the truck. They get it started. They start going. That old Ford started following them again out of town. And I mean, coming up on them. And I swear to God, every one of this is true. My cousin doesn't believe in all that creepy stuff or anything, so I was freaked out about it. So we decided to go out there. There's an old school out there, so we walk inside of it. And my friends were outside of the school, and I was inside of it. And I mean, there's no windows or nothing. But all of a sudden, I hear like footsteps behind me. And I was like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, I hear them laughing outside, and I'm like, oh, fuck this. And I jump out of one of those windows because there was like something in there with me. And this is like one of those towns that's like near us that, I don't know, man. This town just creeps me out. And so since then, I will not go back.
I don't blame you.
Oh my God, right? That's terrifying. So you knew about the danger and then said, let's go find it.
Yeah. Well, my family, both sides of my mom and my dad are from out east out there. And so they have told me about that town and how it was like an old meatpacking town. And they think I'm crazy when I say it's like scary. But I told them about the stories that other people have like gone out there when they're drunk or something, you know, in high school. And they're just like, people stay away from it. I'm not kidding. Like, it's the only time I've ever been out there, and I don't think I'll ever go back. It's pretty terrifying.
No, yeah, of course you wouldn't go back there.
Exactly.
That's fucking awful.
And it's easy to dismiss things when everybody's there drunk. It's like, oh, you didn't see that. You were drunk. You didn't hear that. You were drunk. But then when you do see it soberly, and there's certain things you can't even imagine. No matter how many bottles of Bud Light you kick back, shit just ain't making that shit happen.
Awesome.
Coors Light out there, God, it's Colorado. Come on.
Well, thanks, Holly.
America.
I guess let's go to Randy next, and
Are you sure?
yeah, let's go to Randy next and hear what he has to say. Tell me how I'd be scared of this holiday season, Randy.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and little Johnny, high school star football player from the high school, wanted to take little Susie out to make out point. So he takes her. Where you taking me? You have been to make out point? Make out point? What's that? You'll see. So, how's school? It's okay. Well, you know what they call a makeout point, right? No. You ever been here before? No. Well, I'll show you. What's that noise? I don't know. Let me check it out. Looks out the window. Nothing. Let me turn on the radio. This just in. Escaped insane person with hook for hand escaped mental institution tonight. That's scary. I hope he's not around here. If he was, I would defend you. It's nice to know that. Anyways, the reason why I call it makeout point. What's that noise? I don't know. Maybe we should get out of here. That's an engine. They start taking off. What's that noise? I thought that was back there. We're not there anymore. Let me stop the car again. They stop the car and get out. And when the guy gets out, he looks at the door. There's a hook in the car door. Some sleigh bells on that shit. Because it's the holidays. What's that? What's that? Is that a sleigh bell hook?
Let him finish.
What is that? Is that like a... What is that? I don't know. But... He's missing. I don't know what that is. Whatever it is. Remember that radio when on the radio they said the hook guy? Maybe it's that guy. Ah, it's me, the hook hand man. Give me my hook back. Okay. I don't know.
That was that was an experience. I almost expected it to be a candy cane hook hand, or that it was going to be Santa Claus. That was escape from the mental.
I'm like, no, man.
It sounded like the exact story of like the town that dreaded sundown.
I almost hit something and then it tapered off.
That was really good, Randy. I'm definitely not going to sleep tonight thinking about where that story could have gone.
Well, the goal was to get the puh, but that didn't happen.
Good point. All right.
It's a sad ending for everybody.
Thank you for sharing your story. Next, we're going to turn it over to Roscoe, who's got something hopefully a little creepier.
Well, mine is creepy, but not as creepy as the other stories y'all have heard. Fun fact, my birthday's on the 13th, but this wasn't on my birthday, which was a Friday the 13th. This just happened to be like the month after it. But I used to live in Virginia on a base. Our house on base was a 2-story, but like when you get to the second floor, it's just a long hall before you get into everybody's bedrooms and the bathroom. 2 times this has happened to me, but the one time that has happened to me, well, actually both happened on a Friday the 13th, but the first time that has happened to me, walk up the stairs, right out in my, right at the back of the hallway, which turn left, you go into my parents' room, turn right, go into my room. Get up to the stairs, I look, I see this little old creature. I realize it's a Dutch hound, happens to be my pet Misty that passed away a few years ago after incident that happened. She stares, looks at me, walks into my parents' room, kind of freak out, head downstairs, give it a few minutes, walk upstairs, make sure everything's straight. Another Friday the 13th pass. Instead of it being my pet dog, it's my grandpa. He stares. Different thing about this one is we get a 5-minute stare at each other before he turns and walks into my parents' room. I'm bugging the fuck out because, just fun fact, my grandpa passed away, and just only a few months after my grandpa's passing away, my pet dog Misty, who happened to be my she loved my grandpa just as much as my grandpa loved him and our other dog Magic. And Misty basically passed away because of depression and the fact that my grandpa died. So just to see both of those on a Friday the 13th, technically a month between each other, maybe one of the most craziest experience I've ever had. And just fun fact, those aren't the only 2 ghost experiences I've ever met. Those are the only 2 that I've actually could identify the figure and the being and could clearly tell who it is. The others have just been red and black or red and white, or I have seen a ghost alien, but that's for another story.
Sounds like Pet Cemetery.
Yeah, that's okay. I want to know more about a ghost alien later on. Maybe next Friday the 13th we'll talk about that one.
It's just more of I know it was not a human figure, but I know it was not. I know
it was a hidden figure. So it was a black woman.
It was tall. It was lanky, but the arms were too damn long.
All right,
Slender Man.
Too damn short. Yeah, it was kind of. It was pre-Slender Man before they came out.
Before creepypastas came out.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, thank you for sharing that story, Ross. That's kind of nuts. Do you see ghosts often?
Sometimes, but I haven't recently. But that might be because I've been intaking a lot of the cannabis. So
I thought you were gonna say it's because you found Jesus.
No,
I'm very
no,
happy
no.
it's not the case.
I was when I've seen more ghosts. It was more when I was more of like going to church. Like,
see, okay, yeah.
So actually,
Jesus finds a way to scare all of us. We've got one more story for you. Kelsey, are you ready with your tale?
I'm always ready.
All right, let's turn it over to Kels.
So I'm just letting you know this story has nothing to do with Christmas, nothing about December, but it's a day that I will always remember because it happened to fall upon my best friend's birthday, Roscoe. You heard him on multiple podcasts. Like he said, his birthday is the 13th. But 13th of what month? That month would be February. So when your birthday is the 13th of February, it's the day before Valentine's Day. And so happened for me his birthday was on a Friday that year. And the reason we weren't hanging out that night because also one of my other friends' birthdays, Brian, is on the same day as Roscoe, so we was gonna have a birthday party to celebrate both those born days that Saturday. So I was just out downtown Colorado Springs, like normal, and I just happened to get a text from a girl I've been in love with for several years. I would say the love of my life. And she was like, hey, I'm pregnant. I'm like, word. It's not mine, of course, because we're never together, because that's my life, because I never get to be happy. But on this day, it's my best friend's birthday, she tells me this information. So I'm sitting here at Old Chicago, back when it was downtown on Tejon, wrapping my mind around all this shit, going around all the scenarios. And guess what also is supposed to be happening this day? I'm supposed to be on a date. And guess what happens? An error happens. I get stood up. I don't get to go on a date. So my best friend's birthday, I get stood up and find out that the girl I've been in love with is having a kid that's not going to be my kid, but 9 months later, it might be born on my same birthday. It doesn't happen. I'm okay. But this is what I'm sitting down dealing with while I'm at Old Chicago trying to enjoy my pepperoni rolls. But also, I do what I do best. I keep drinking. I leave. I listen to Drake. I get emo. And I do the one thing that always makes me happy. I dance my ass off. And I made myself feel as best as I could in that situation. And that's my Friday the 13th story for you today. But, epilogue, me and her, we're still cool. She's always one of my best friends, one of my closest, dearest friends. But the reason and the method of how I got over that situation was a little song from the coldest bitch there is, named Elsa. It's a little ditty called Let It Go. And I'm sitting there in my mom's basement. Yes, my mother's basement. Because I had to move back in with her. That's another podcast, another episode. But that shit comes on my random playlist. Because, yes, I'm a Disney music person. I'm just like, well, if Elsa could let it go, I can let it go too. Because when you're cool, you recognize cool. And that's just what it is. But if we're going to have to talk about an Xmas tale, I will take you back to my days in Georgia when I was a little guy, and I witnessed my first white Christmas because I never thought I'd get to see one. Being from Georgia, it's the South, it never gets that cold, but when I was about 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, something like that, I don't really know the age off the top. But it snowed, and it was no more than like centimeters. It wasn't even an inch of snow. But it was like, oh shit, it's snow in Georgia. Crazy shit. But then my blackest Christmas though, like this is a real sad story. Like I know. But I gotta be for reals. One Christmas though, me and my sister, we found where my mom was hiding our gifts, like low key, like she was hiding them somewhere, and we told our friends. We're like, yo, we know where we get it because we just found out this, that, and third. They told their moms that we knew where our gifts were. And guess what happened on Christmas? We go to the Christmas tree, and my mom was like, ha ha! Y'all little niggas ain't getting shit! Because I know y'all already know what you was getting, so I took all that shit back. You thought you got one on me. No sirree, Bob. She took all that shit back. And we got zilch from her. But, weird story, I was raised very Jehovah's Witness on my grandma's side. But she didn't give a fuck about Jehovah's Witness when it came to me. So me and my sister still got some gifts though. But it wasn't all the shit that we wanted. Because my mama was like, yo, that shit was rude. And it was a whole family it was a whole family thing. I was like, yo, if your parents tell you not to say shit, don't say shit, because you don't know how that's gonna come back on you. And I just want to respect that. And I was just like, say, my mom, I respect you for being a woman of your word, because she showed us like, yo, your actions have consequences. Therefore, what you do, somebody will have something to say about that. And that very much translates to this modern age that we live in. Because you could believe in a Santa Claus, but does not negate your flaws.
Wow. I don't know what the scariest part of that story was, Kelsey. There was so many twists and turns and unexpected additional stories.
Don't tell your friends or you lose all your treats.
Yeah.
We go from breakups to Jehovah's Witnesses.
Exactly. That's my life.
They go hand in hand together.
That's my life.
Dr. Manhattan, this creepy story.
I'm saying he's just experiencing all of it.
Yes, because everybody's like, no, you're a good guy, you're attractive, you're funny, people
Who's
like
telling you this?
Females that don't want to give him a chance.
Yeah.
Females that Randy see me talking to the bar and he comes over like, bro, you gotta, like, I know, but in my head, like, I don't, because I know my life, because I'm living this at 3 different moments all at the same time.
Let's do a
'Cause
relationship story
Podcast, just a
time.
whole relationship.
how can you do
podcast.
one if
Give
you
him
never had
air for like an
How
hour.
can you do one if you never had a healthy one? I'm trying to have a good
It's
time.
confusing, man.
I'm trying to have a good time.
It's confusing.
But
It's
here I
scary.
am downtown.
I thought this was Friday the 13th.
It was 2 fronts. It was Friday the 13th and creepy holiday tales. Friday the 13th. I went through some shit on
No,
my
we heard the
homeboy's
story.
birthday.
No, we heard the story.
I just thought you
No,
wanted
yeah,
a
no,
re-explanation
no.
because some people acted
no.
like they only had a question mark at the end of a period.
No,
but only
we-
thing at the end of the period is a red mouth if you love your girl. Holla.
So, what are your guys' Friday the 13th like traditions? Do you guys do anything?
I read from the Satanic Bible and hope something creepy happens.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
I love it.
I got my hands on a Necronomicon this year, so maybe the Baba Yaga will come to my house.
Hopefully.
Be careful what you wish for.
No, I'm not wishing for that.
old
I'm not wishing
pops
for
up
that.
in front of your
She's
house.
terrifying. Kelsey, what's yours?
Friday the 13th, I always do what I normally do every day of the week, and it's talk to Ross because that nigga's my best friend, and that's just how he is. And I also always think about one of the classics that people don't think about.
If this is another one of your relationship stories.
It's hard to have a relationship
Let him
story when you
talk,
have no...
Daniel.
It'll be
Fuck.
another horror story for all of us.
He's got the mic.
It's hard to talk about your relationship stories when you don't have relationships. First and foremost.
talk about
but
it.
thank you for bringing up another nightmare I have, but not on Elm Street. But speaking of nightmares on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Freddy vs. Jason is one of the things I always try to watch or think about on Friday the 13th because it's one of my favorite franchises, let alone the best versus movie. But before we get the Godzilla vs. King Kong movie next year.
Holly, what about you?
What are my traditions?
Yeah.
Well, one, I get tattoos. I do like little
Awesome.
Friday the 13th fingers. This is
Yeah.
one.
And what is that?
Friday the 13th finger tattoo. So just a 1-3 skeleton. hands.
Okay.
Anatomically correct.
Yeah,
with
except
all the bones.
Yeah, except for people confused it with MS-13 gang. They thought I was like going to the MS-13.
Who's these people?
I don't know.
dog.
Like they
White.
legit thought that.
I mean, you have the look.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
okay. For
and
the
anything
gang.
else?
During the day, I like while I'm at work usually because it's Friday,
Mm-hmm.
but I will listen to my goth playlist, which is
Yeah.
like the Birthday Massacre, Typo Negative, Mr. Kitty. It's there's some goth bands that I just love.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then nighttime, I like to do pizza. Some like just
Yeah.
grub food.
What if I want wings?
And then I want to do. You get well. That's
Then
the
you
thing about
order your
pizza.
own
Most
wings,
pizza places
motherfucker.
do wings, so it's pretty awesome. But I like to do my favorite franchise movies. So I'll do my favorite franchises are Halloween, Scream.
Scream
And-
is great. Scream's always
Halloween
one of my
3?
favorites.
You watch Halloween 3?
Actually, that's my least favorite one because I'm just
It's
like, why
everyone's
is it
least favorite
like? Because
one.
like, what is it even doing in
It's
that
an
franchise?
anthology because John Carpenter wanted
Because
Halloween to not be all
And
about
she
Mike
would not
Myers.
like you to mansplain to
This
her
is-
favorite
this
This
franchise.
is terrifying of its own accord.
Is it going off?
No, 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 no.
theory?
Yeah, yes, it is. And plus, Rob Zombie.
And then I was gonna say, or I do my Rob Zombie binge, which is my idol, my everything, my God. Praise thee.
All praise thee. Yeah, I'm about it. Yeah.
I would not.
Hail Satan and all that shit.
Yeah. 666.
I like my dress on black folks.
Well, Holly, thank you for taking the time to tell us your story today.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Gracias.
not bringing in any, relationship shit about it, or The fact that
Let's get down to business.
again, not scary.
To defeat
Copyrighted even.
those buns.
Oh, okay, no, different song.
She can get it whenever
But she has
she really
a son.
wants. I ain't got no problem with being a stepdaddy, but I won't.
Oh my god. Great.
Leave it up to the imagination.
Yeah,
You better use your imagination.
you are a singing thing. How many of those have you had? How many of those peach?
Was that?
Not enough. And no, it's not, because you don't watch that show. I'm just going to take an educated guess.
No, I'm saying the song.
Yeah, I don't think you watch that show. I'm pretty sure you don't. Yeah,
Star.
Yeah.
So many assumptions.
Friday the 13th. Hit me up. 719-682-9999.
White what it do? The professor from And One Ballin' is what he got.
BYOM. Bring your own mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for
Good
listening.
call.
Happy Friday the 13th before this completely derails into just sad drinking and what might have been. Happy Friday the 13th, everyone. Stay spooky out there. And remember, there can only be one chum bucket.
Love you.
And just remember, guys, even when you're unlucky, you can escape and be one of the most luckiest people on this earth by being an escapee here with Daniel and me. And even if we don't believe in you, you believe in us. And guess what? And that you trust. Because we're here with Holly, Randall, Roscoe, Kels for show, Rojas, my amigas, my amigo for show, bro. Love you. Stay uncanny, y'all.